Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and this morning I'm looking at a report which is of great use to both the solicitors and the barristers parts of the legal profession. It's from the Ark Group, which is a Wilmington company, and it's this book here. It's called Ethics in Law Firms, a Practical Guide. It's been written by Tracey Calvert, and it's been sponsored in fact by the following publishers: Managing Partner, which is on the bottom there, you can see, Young Lawyer, and Solicitors Journal. This is the report. It's very much a standard type of report that you get from the Ark Group. Nice sort of settings and examples there, for instance. There's no proper index at the back, but there are all sorts of very important practical points connected with the way in which we conduct ourselves in the profession. That's the contents section there. There are in fact 12 chapters, the last one being a conclusion, and there's always an executive summary which is well worth reading. It's a very light book. It only runs to something like just over 100 pages, but it's a very important book, and one that I think many people should be certainly aware of, and they should know what the contents are, because we are moving into a new era with the way we conduct our business. Now, we've written a review of this book, which is on the internet, it's on the web, it's in various publications as well. We've given it the title, How Ethical Standards Can Save Your Law Firm a Heap of Trouble and Expense. And as I say, this has been written by both myself and my wife, Elizabeth Taylor, who's my administrator at Chambers. This is what we say, quote, "Understanding and demonstrating professional conduct and values sets law firms apart from other businesses," says Tracey Calvert. She's the author, and she's competently and comprehensively, in our view, authored a very useful new publication from the Ark Group. Now, there's a truism with which few lawyers would disagree here. However, in trying to maintain the practical and consistent application of ethical practices day to day in the practice of our profession, well, as you'll be reminded in the book, you could find yourself in something of a minefield, and I'm sure we can all identify what they may be. The book is aimed primarily at solicitors and obviously applies to any size of law firm. Sole practitioners are also, of course, included. The Solicitors Regulatory Authority, or Regulation Authority, SRA, provides the framework or ethical behaviour, says Tracey, but it is an inherently personal obligation to differentiate and uphold those values. Barristers too, who must abide by their own massive code of conduct, we think would also benefit from this book. Certainly it will enhance their awareness and understanding of ethical issues which impact on barristers and solicitors alike, and we of course are well aware of the whole issue of regulation. The book explores a multiplicity of ethical issues in detail, and the results make rather fascinating reading, if only to demonstrate, among other things, how expensive in money and reputation the often accidental breach of an ethical issue can be. Take the possible consequences linked to breaches of confidentiality, for example, as demonstrated in the recent and memorable case in which the author J.K. Rowling was outed as the author of a novel she'd written under a nom de plume. From the revelation, or leak, if you like, of Miss Rowling's true identity, it came from a partner in the law firm she'd instructed. He told his wife's best friend, who promptly posted this juicy piece of information on social media. Oh dear. You can read the book for further details, but in short, the episode resulted in a stiff fine and substantial financial and reputational damage for the firm. In most instances, ethics tend to boil down to the necessity of acting in the best interests of each client, which is obviously what we always do. And it's the guiding principle of client care, whether you be a barrister or solicitor. And as Calvert puts it, quote, adopting the correct response to the many and varied ethical dilemmas which arise remains as important as ever. Absolutely right. She's absolutely right there. In all, the book is readable and logically organised into 12 chapters. It is actually more in the form of a report, but it reads like a book. All but 2 of those chapters, which start and finish with the question, what does the SRA expect me to do? So you've got your introduction and conclusion, and then you've got an investigation of what the SRA is expecting us to do and how we should act. Just about every conceivable issue is covered, from client care and confidentiality to conflicts of interest, duties to the court, client money, and much more. Now there's one word of warning I would have here, and that is that you can think that this would be common sense, but it is always useful to just have this extra bit of guidance, and that's really where the book, I think, does come in. The author has lent her considerable experience and authority to the content of this useful volume, and among other achievements as a lawyer, she was a member of the small team which drafted the SRA handbook, with particular responsibilities in respect of the new SRA Code of Conduct and the rules in the handbook's Specialist Services section. So in producing this guide, in conclusion, we think she delivers practical answers to everyday problems. Very much a hands-on book, this report. It clarifying, as she does, points by referring to actual cases, and also provided are frequently asked questions, flow charts and other illustrative material. The practical value of this guide is, in our view, indisputable. Ideally it should be in every professional practitioner's library. And just to remind you again, that's what it looks like. That's the sort of the front page there. And as I say, again, the contents. But you get an idea, you can see the little tables there. It's very light, but it's something you should look at. It's not difficult to read either, which makes a change. But thank you to Tracey Calvert and Ark for another extremely useful report. These reports are sometimes ignored by many people, but they are actually very helpful for us, I think, within the profession. And especially for younger people coming up who will need that extra guidance. So thank you to all concerned. Bye-bye.